afternoon to you and welcome to Bena Midday News, coming to you live from Atomic Junction, Benab House, Medina. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Coming up in the headlines, Ghana High Commission in Kenya warns against travel amidst unrest. Supreme Court to hear Richard Sky's case on July 3rd. Stop attacking soldiers and other security officers, Kandapa to Ghanaians. Details of the stories comes up shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget we are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube at Bena TV. Moving on, National Security Minister Albert Kandapa has cautioned Ghanaians against attacking personnel of the nation's security service. Mr. Kandapa said the practice of Ghanaians attacking men and women in uniform should stop immediately. Speaking at a meeting with some traditional leaders in the northern region, Albert Kandapa said security personnel must be given the necessary support to enable them to carry out their duties. He indicated that the essential services that Ghana's gallant security personnel are rendering must be appreciated and not repaired with attacks. He admonished Ghanaians to learn to appreciate and support the work of the security agencies, including the military, police, immigration officers and all the institutions that are involved in providing security, adding that these security personnel are the people who have made it possible for us to feel secure. He said, under no circumstances must any citizen or a group of citizens attack a police officer, a soldier or an immigration officer at the least provocation. Ghana's High Commissioner to Kenya, Damte Bediako Asare, is advising Ghanaians to be cautious about traveling to Kenya due to the escalating protest in the East Africa country. Protesters have launched what they call 7 days of rage with street marches against the controversial finance bill proposing new tax hikes. Initially intended as a peaceful demonstrations, the protest turned violent on Tuesday as security forces clashed with protesters who vandalized state properties and attacked the parliament building in Nairobi. Kenya has been a popular destination for many Ghanaian tourists and more recently, business owners exploring opportunities under the African Continental Free Trade Area Initiative, which both Ghana and Kenya have signed onto. A few days ago, Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration announced that in recognition of the existing visa-free regime agreement between Kenya and Ghana, Ghanaian travelers would now be issued an electronic travel authorization free of charge upon application for travel to Kenya, potentially increasing travel between the two countries. However, due to the current security concerns, High Commissioner Damte Bediako Asare is advising Ghanaians traveling to Kenya, either for tourism or business or any other purpose, to stay informed and contact their travel agents or airlines for guidance and advice. For Ghanaians who are already in Kenya, the High Commissioner advised that they avoid protest areas. Some Ghanaian members of parliament were caught in the ongoing demonstrations in Kenya. The legislators, mostly from the local government committee, were in Kenya's parliament when the riots turned violent outside. A viral video shows the legislators being moved to safety inside the building. Among those seen in the amateur footage filmed by a Sojaman MP, Thomas Ampenyako, were MP for Botiano English Amanfrom, Sylvester Tete, Emmanuel Akwesi Jemfi, and Nilante Vanderpoy. The delegation also included Anita Kwate Papafio, a clerk from Parliament in charge of governance cluster committees. Commenting on the general safety of Ghanaian nationals in Kenya, High Commissioner Damte noted that there's no unfortunate incidents involving any Ghanaian or any member of the Ghanaian community. Away from that, Ghana's Supreme Court has scheduled Wednesday, July 3rd, to hear an application filed by broadcast journalist cum private legal practitioner Richard De La Sky against Parliament's passage of the controversial anti-gay bill. Mr. Sky is challenging the constitutionality of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill, and he is seeking a declaration that the bill passed by Parliament breaches several provisions of the 1992 Constitution and violates the country's laws and the fundamental human rights guaranteed by the Constitution.
The notice of hearing was issued by Registrar of the Supreme Court, Her Honor Ellen Ofe-Ayi, and is dated 14th June 2024. The notice is addressed to Richard Sky, Kujo Arthur Chambers, lawyer for the applicant, the Speaker of Parliament, Thaddeus Sori, lawyer for the Speaker, and to the Attorney General. Mr. Sky's case is one of 4 cases filed at the Supreme Court and the High Court against the passage of the anti-gay bill. The Judicial Service on Tuesday, 28 May 2024, granted permission to the media to cover live all court proceedings concerning the controversial Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill 2024, also known as the Anti-LGBTQ+ Bill. The communique issued by the Judicial Service confirmed that the media, including radio and television, will have full access to the relevant courts to undertake a coverage of all proceedings in those cases concerning the bill. The move comes in response to the widespread public interest surrounding the legislation. Amanda Odoi and Richard De La Sky are challenging the bill's passage directly at the Supreme Court, while Paul Boama Sefa and Prince Obri Koran have filed separate cases in the High Court.
The Gamanche King Taki Teko Churu II has asserted that the Greater Accra region will be a pivotal factor in determining the outcome of the 2024 elections in Ghana. The King of Accra made this bold statement when the leader of the New Force movement, Nana Kwame Bediako, paid a courtesy call on him to seek his permission and blessing ahead of his tour of the Greater Accra region. Describing the 2024 election as the most important election in the history of the Fourth Republic, King Taki Teko Churu II called for a peaceful process. The Gamanche, King Taki Teko Churu II, also declared that the Greater Accra region would determine who wins the 2024 elections. He called for peaceful and respectful campaigning, stressing the importance of unity and cooperation among all political parties. Ni then encouraged citizens to participate actively in the electoral process to ensure that their voices are heard and their votes count. The leader of the New Force movement, Nana Kwame Bediako, is seeking the blessings of the Gamanche, promised to foster peace and unity through his campaigning. In some international stories, there was a tense calm in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, on Wednesday morning as people took stock of the violent clashes that played out on Tuesday as lawmakers passed the controversial finance bill. The Medical Association said 13 people were killed in the unrest.
President William Ruto, in a speech on Tuesday night, called the rallies treasonous, prompting calls for dialogue.
Today's events mark a critical turning point on how we respond to grave threats to our national security. I assure the nation that the government has mobilized all resources at the nation's disposal to ensure that a situation of this nature will not recur again at whatever cost.
The US has also condemned violence reported during the protests in Nairobi and around Kenya and urged restraints to restore order and provide space for dialogue.
So we condemn the violence reported during protests in Nairobi and around Kenya. We mourn the loss of life and injuries sustained and offer our condolences to the families who lost loved ones. We urge restraint to restore order and provide space for dialogue.
There was a heavy security presence at the Parliament complex, which was stormed by protesters on Tuesday. Long-running grievances over the rising cost of living spiraled last week as lawmakers began debating proposed tax hikes. Kenya says it needs to raise taxes to cut borrowing and fund social services. Protesters say the government should cut waste and corruption instead.
In sports, the minority has intensified calls for an audit of expenditures related to the 2023 Africa Games hosted in Ghana earlier this year. This comes after the Youth and Sports Minister Mustafa Yusuf praised the Games as successful without providing a detailed financial account.
The minority members of parliament, including North Tongu MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa and the minority leader Dr. Kesela Tuforsen, criticized the minister for failing to disclose how public funds were utilized. According to Mr. Ablakwa, there has been no breakdown of how the money was used despite expenditures exceeding the approved budget.
I have gone through the entire 15-page statement that the Honorable Minister has presented. There is no mention of how much this country has spent on the Games. What is the Honorable Minister concealing from this House? What is he hiding? Why can't we be told? Already we have raised concerns about the huge expenditure way beyond what this House approved. We know that about $195 million was spent on infrastructure. Then we intercepted documents that revealed that they had budgeted to spend $48 million on so-called operational expenses.
The problem, Mr. Speaker, is about the value for money for all the activities, programs, and all that were planned for the hosting of the event. We have spent not less than $245 million for this whole hosting of the event, and committed close to $195 million for infrastructure development.
Mr. Speaker, we know for sure that $15 million was allocated to a company called M&L Company Limited for 18 days of feeding. Mr. Speaker, that amounts to 226 million Ghana cedis for 18 days. You cannot come here, deliver a statement without accounting for that $15 million for 18 days. Mr. Speaker, this is public money.
On his part, the former minority leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu stated that the Constitution provides that accounting for the usage of public funds requires time.
Speaker, this is public accounts. This is public accounts. It's not for nothing that Article 187 of the Constitution provides that accounting for the usage of public funds should require some period. And indeed, it is 6 months after the expiry of the financial year that this should be properly accounted for. What it means is that after the event, you cannot say that within 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the minister should be able to come before this House and explain everything. Mr. Speaker, so the minority leader, fortunately, is an accountant, and he understands these things.
Alexander Afenyo-Markin stated that the minority leader cannot demand an audit now.
You cannot demand an audit now. If you look at 1872, it provides the public account of Ghana and all public offices, including the courts,
the central and local government administrations of the universities and public institutions of like nature of any public corporation or other body or organization established by an act of Parliament shall be audited and reported on by the Auditor General. They have finished their work. Instead of commending, Mr. Speaker, instead of commending the minister for a good job done, you rather want to use the opportunity to critique and say things that are not factual.
Former Ghana Premier League star Jamaldeen Haruna has completed a transfer to FC Sogndal in the Norwegian First Division. The 24-year-old defender has signed a 3-year contract with the club, leaving Raufoss in the Norwegian Second Division.
Haruna previously played for Great Olympics FC in Ghana, appearing in 27 games during his first season. He then switched to Raufoss last year, where he went on to play a total of 46 matches in various competitions. He has become a crucial part of the team's defense at Nammo Stadium. He even faced off against Sogndal in 3 matches, showcasing his early impact in the Norwegian Obos-ligaen. Not only is Haruna a formidable defender, but he has also scored 2 goals and poses a threat on the field with his strong physique. He will be joining his new teammate for the remainder of the Norwegian First Division League. Currently, Sogndal is in the 6th position on the league table with 23 points after 14 matches, with just 1 game left in the first half of the season. Haruna is expected to bring more strength to the team. Haruna's football career began with the Tudu Mighty Jet Academy team in Ghana. He then went on to play for Wa All Stars and Olympics, both top-tier clubs in Ghana.
And that is how we bring the bulletin to an end. You've been watching Midday News on Baina TV. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Enjoy the rest of our programs.